that roar when you ran out just puts goosebumps on the back of your neck.
Moss went straight through, Andrews there!
He's just forever looking for an opportunity.
Exhilarating football!
That's a good sign of a good team.
Accelerates and punches through them!
And he's only going to get better.
And the hammer stands them up! And Queensland going to do it again!
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Queensland. A bumper show in store for you today, covering a heap of big topics, including Wayne Bennett's return to the Bunnies, Cameron Munster missing the entire Origin series, and the fallout from the Broncos' narrow 1-point win over Manly. And then we wrap it all up. Wal's been doing his homework ahead of Origin. He exclusively reveals his Maroons team for Game 1, while selector for Queensland, Darren Lockyer, watches on. So stay tuned for that one, Wal. Any surprises in store?
I don't think so. Watch for Locky to start giggling when I name a couple here. Yeah. That'll give it away. So it'll be interesting. But the great thing is that no matter who dons the Maroon jersey, they'll do their best for everyone at home.
Yeah, we can't wait for that one. Game 1, live and exclusively free on Channel 9 from down in Sydney. But let's kick off, Lockie, talking about Wayne Bennett. We thought maybe he'd retire after the Dolphins deal, but it's been revealed he's heading back to the Rabbitohs. Did he make the right decision, Rabbitohs over Parramatta? Because it's come out that the Eels definitely tried to recruit him.
They were always the two teams I thought that would have a play at him, given, Parramatta was struggling, so they were probably in the background on the hunt for a new coach. Obviously, the history with South. Look, I think there's some players at South, like Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Damien Cook, that are match winners and in big games that aren't sort of playing their best footy, but I think they can under Wayne. The biggest question will be, how does he replace Adam Reynolds?
Yep.
So he took him to a grand final, Adam Reynolds. That was his last year. So the kid in the system, they've just got, Lachlan Ilias is
off contract, basically been told he can go,
Look, I think I saw the phrase today, unfinished business. So I think that's what's motivating him to go back there, and obviously the relationship he has with some of those key players. But I think it's the right outcome.
You agree, Wal?
Yeah, definitely. On the other, of course, for Bennett to be at the Bunnies and have two very talented players at his direction, Mitchell and Walker. They were the guys that I think had probably their best seasons when given direction from him.
Yeah.
So who do you think, looking at those lists at the moment, Eels closer to winning a premiership or Rabbitohs closer to winning a premiership?
Well, the one thing about the Eels, you've got Mitch Moses, right?
Yeah.
So he's a game managing halfback, and that's what Wayne will have to create that with whoever wears the 7 jersey at South. So, look, I think there's, Parramatta played in the grand final 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and South the year before, I think.
Yeah.
So, look, there'll be a huge upside for both teams, but I just feel like if you're going to get close to the big dance, those two guys you mentioned, Walker and Mitchell, probably going to give you an edge.
Yeah, and I'd be very surprised, Lockie, if Wayne wasn't looking around for a halfback that's got plenty of skill and ability to be able to hold his position, work well defensively. To be inside Cody, I think would be a real thrill for a young halfback to be able to learn his trade that way as well. So it'll be quite good. And Bennett, he doesn't pick any bums. He gets the right players at the right time and turns them into even better players.
Yeah, they've already signed that Lewis Dodd from the English Super League, so interesting to see how he goes in his first year. Maybe Wayne will massage the roster a bit.
Well, Wayne said he had nothing to do with that. So it'd be interesting to see how he evolves, Dodd, under Wayne's coaching.
If you're Bennett, do you keep Latrell at fullback or do you move him to the centres? I'm moving him to the centres. I think that's where he plays his best footy.
So who do you put to fullback?
I would look at putting Jack White in the fullback. They look more dangerous when he's got his hands on the ball or they've got that young Gray coming through the ranks. I just think Latrell's a better centre. I think rep footy, New South Wales, he's killed Queensland when he's played in the centres.
Yeah, well, the one thing I guess, may go against that in an argument, and I agree with you to a certain extent, but his ability to be able to be fullback and attack either side. At centre, you're playing left or right. To be able to pick and choose where you're going. And I think that he will instantly become a much better player under Wayne's direction. It's become fairly indicative that his best performances have been under Bennett, and certainly that will continue. Wayne will make life a challenge for him.
Yeah, I think if you look back at the days when South were really firing, that left edge of South with Cody Walker, you know...
Trell to Johnson in the corner try.
But then, so I think, you know, Jack Whiten on the left.
Yeah, okay.
Just somehow, Walker needs to unlock him, but I agree with Wall. I think Latrell's such an influential player, you just need him... You need to give him freedom to get around the footy.
Yeah, and Wayne's the guy best suited to do that. The Rabbitohs and Eels have both revealed that their discussions took place up at Wayne Bennett's farm up near Warwick in the Downs, Western Downs area of Queensland. Either of you guys been up to his farm in the day?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
It's just off Darren Lockyer way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not far from Warwick.
Yeah.
And it's his happy place.
Yeah,
he loves it. You know, if you want to get into a conversation to get away from footy with him, you only got to mention the farm and talk about the price of cattle, talk about, you know, what crops he's growing on there. And, yeah, I think it's just, you know, obviously he's a person that doesn't necessarily say a lot, you know, he's basically, the media have to come to him to get something out of him. But, you know, it's a pretty intense thing being a coach. So you need that sort of ability to break away and go and have some peace, and that's where he goes, and he loves it. Like I think, you know, he could virtually, you know that he could still coach a footy team and still live. He doesn't live there, but that's how much he loves it. He would travel that distance to still coach.
You ever been to the farm? Well, it hasn't invited you since your Broncos captaincy days?
No, I haven't been there, but it's having seen a little bit of vision from it. It's and that's where Benny's from originally. Yeah. It's, you know, up that way. It's a wonderful area, and I think I only heard him talk about it once, and he was talking about just the relaxation and the thought process he was able to go through every time he went back there. And you know, we're all a little bit different, but Bennett's from that lifestyle as a young man. So it's you know, an opportunity, I think, for him to be at his best, and you know, we all like to spend a bit of time in the areas where we feel most comfortable.
Yeah, it re-energises him. That's where he goes to charge the batteries up, and I think pretty much every time he signs a new coaching contract, he buys the neighbour. So he owns,
I think he only owns out to Charleville or something, Cunnamulla at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's still going, still chipping away.
Well, let's move on to Bennett's former club, the Brisbane Broncos, Locky. They got that narrow 1-point win over Manly. How vital is it to accrue those victories with Adam Reynolds out?
Oh, enormous. You know, I think that can be the difference to making top 4 and top 8 in this competition. You know, there'd be good teams at the moment that are sitting down low in the ladder just because they haven't iced those close games. So, you know, for every time you get a win in those close contests like that the other night, like it's so valuable, those 2 points. So, yeah, that was you know, while it was at times wasn't, you know, great footy from the Broncos, it was still a really good win. Yeah,
I agree with you, Lockie. I was listening to some people being a little bit critical of the Broncos, but I thought it was a good performance from them. They had to really aim up and put in an extra effort from each player to get there, and I thought it was a very good role that everybody played. I thought the forwards were quite impressive. They were under a little bit of a challenge right from the start, but I think they can probably feel quite comfortable about you know, the effort they put in, and I'm sure Kev probably would say that we can improve a little bit from here, but he would have had a bit of a smile on his face with that effort. It was a pretty good one.
Well, they had to, you know, the first 12 minutes they just were all over him, right? And then they had to go back into a real arm wrestle mentality, and they had to hold that for 60 minutes, and then they come out on top. So, the good teams know how to win in different ways. And the other night, I thought the Bronx, they had to get back into a dogfight, and they did that well.
Yeah, it would have been a good learning curve for them to win ugly, because we're so used to seeing them win pretty with those amazing tries.
Yeah, and they were on early, and it's not like it was Manly was they were maybe a little bit off with their intensity, but once they picked up their game, sometimes they can unsettle, the team that's dominating, because they go, well, hang on, 1 minute we're doing this easy, now it's become really tough. But they sort of they amended their approach based on the game, so it was a good win.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lockie. I thought Manly had a real dig. I thought the Broncos kept DCE. As restrained as any club has this year. I thought they did a wonderful job with that, and they can feel very happy with their performance.
And Manly going in thinking, oh, no, Reece Walsh, this is the positive, and Selwyn Cobbo plays just as good.
Well, we talked about Latrell Mitchell, like that's, Selwyn Cobbo getting more involved, and it's like he does it, like his intensity levels doesn't look like it's there, but he just does it so casually, but so effectively.
And the match-winning field goal came from Jock Madden. Lockie, how good is that for his confidence going forward? Because he will always be in the shadow of Adam Reynolds while Reynolds is there. But to kick a match-winning field goal at Suncorp Stadium, what does that do for his belief?
Oh, I thought it was instant. You could just tell watching him on the ground. Like, it was only 5 minutes to go, but it was like this sort of weight off his shoulders. I just think they had to still win the game from that point on, but I think that's massive for his confidence. Like everyone talks about, the Broncos can't win without Adam Reynolds. Well, Jock Madden had a great game that night. And the other thing he did that night was Ruben Garrick made that break down the right, and instead of passing, he kicked it. Jock Madden came from the other side of the field and
chased
ran.
It down.
And, that's the reason why he didn't pass it. So just those little effort areas like that, but then to ice a game in that situation for him would be massive for his confidence.
Yeah, I thought it was great for his confidence. You hit the nail on the head there, Lockie. Confidence-wise, he was fantastic, and I think you could see upon his face, especially at the end of the game, the look upon him. He knew that he'd put in a very good effort for Brisbane. He'd come up with a couple of key plays in the game, including the one that was the difference at the end. And sometimes games like that can be massively beneficial for your confidence.
And real good with those spiral bombs too. He gave Kohler, the Manly fullback, a few nightmares there. Let's move on to the Origin talk. Next Monday, so only a few days' time, the Maroons will reveal their squad for Game 1. And we've given Wall a bit of homework in the lead up to this episode, King. Let's see what you've got. What's your team for Game 1 for Queensland this year?
Well, I don't know how close I'm going to be with this one. I got thrown this a little bit late, but Walsh at fullback, Coates and Cobbo on the wing, Holmes and Tabuai-Fidow in the centres. I've gone for Dearden. As the 5'8", I quite like him. Of course, DCE up front, Collins, Grant, and Fotuaika for Feta, Cotter, and Carrigan at the back of the pack, and Hunt, Welsh, Nanai, and Jermaine Hopgood on the bench in the Eels. He's a performer, that guy. Yeah. He's physical, confrontational, and can perform. And he got through a tireless amount of work, absolutely tireless amount of work in the games that I've seen him play.
I think that'll be pretty close to the money. Interesting to see you've gone to start Grant over Hunt. Maybe we might see that, Lockie. But it happened once, maybe last year, Game 3, they went with that, but that's a much of a muchness.
Yeah, I think you could pick, I think it's safe to say both guys are there. It's just who starts and who's on the bench, and, you could name one and start the other, at the last minute. So they're both very, very crucial to the team and the chances. So, there's a lot of people out there picking their teams right now, and look, I think that's what I've always said. A week's a long time in rugby league. You've got to get to a point where hopefully everyone's fit and healthy by the end of the week. But the team, I think Sunday is when it'll get chosen, and we'll go from there.
And Munster is the big out for the entire series, former Wally Lewis medalist. While you've gone with Dearden, It's toss-up between Dearden and Ezra Mann. Why have you just leaned towards Tommy Dearden?
Well, he's got a bit of experience there. Honestly, mate, it could go either way. And I guess the selectors will work in with the coach on the preference there. He's performed well, not that the other couldn't, but I've seen him perform extremely well in the toughest of circumstances. I quite enjoy watching him. He's got a bit of mongrel in him, and can work extremely well in the toughest of situations. And I think that that may do it. But mate, I've my ability to be able to pick the winner of this of the Melbourne Cup would probably be easier than picking who's going to be here. It'll be up to what Billy and the selectors believe is going to be best for the Maroons on the night.
Yeah, he's already played one Origin game when he filled in for Munster when Munster had COVID. Game 3, 2022. He's a little bit more experienced, probably a bit better defender, but Ezra is a bit more flamboyant in attack. Locky, do you weigh that up, or do you already look at it and go, we've got Reece Walsh, we've got the hammer, we've got enough attacking spark?
Oh, I think both players, they're a little bit different, right? They bring a different style. I think Ezra, he's come a long way in a short space of time. I mean, he scored 3 tries in the grand final last year. That was in Sydney. And obviously that's really elevated his name in this equation. But you only got to look at someone like Tom Dearden and what he, just the chase that he did. Who was that on again?
On Cobbo.
Yeah. That's sort of, that's a trait. That's an Origin trait. That's that stuff. So, look, both guys have been, really good in their respective clubs, and there'll be a number of, I reckon, players on both sides that'll be, that are in contention that might come down to what happens this weekend.
And with the Munster being out, how significant is that for Queensland?
Well, it's...
is it like Nathan Cleary missing New South Wales, Cameron Munster missing Queensland? Like, he's that important?
Yeah, well, we've seen it over the years. Key players being missing from the team, and more times than not, we've seen when it's happened to the Queensland team, we've seen them produce their best performance, and all the headlines after the game of, we can win without him. It's just a situation where proof was given that every player can be replaced in a team, and the players simply step up and they give it an even better performance when many will suggest that they can't win without a certain player. And throughout the history of State of Origin, that's been proven wrong, and the players all make sure that they give 110% performance and try and remind the coach and the selectors that they can do it. They probably deserve to be there for the next time around.
Well, Cleary and Munster are different style of players, but Origins and big games in general are won in moments. And both of those players can come up with moments in big sort of occasions. So it's like for like. Even though they're different style of players, it's like for like.
How many positions do you still think are up for grabs? I'm looking at that back line of the centres and the wingers. So you've only got to pick 4. I think there's 6 players in contention there. So Wall mentioned Hammer, Holmes, Cobbo and Coates. I think Dan Gagai has reinvented himself this year. He's been excellent. And also Murray Taulagi made his comeback from injury last week, and he's the incumbent winger from last year. And I think the other position is forward. I think we're missing one forward. So Tino's out injured, Tom Gilbert's out injured. So looking at the bench, Wall's gone for Hopgood. I think they're the points of contention heading into this game 1. So who do you finalise in the outside backs, and who do you go for that bench forward role?
Well, that's why I'm glad I'm not a selector. The pressure is on, but if we've got one benefit, it's that we've got a number of players that are quite capable of filling in there, Adam, and I'm sure the selectors will show the trust in whoever they pick. They have before, and they've never been let down.
I think that's the value. Start of the season, Locky. Billy Slater got like a 30-man squad together, not just the players from last year, previous years and future players. I know Sam Walker, who hasn't played Origin, was part of it. How beneficial is that for you get a situation now where like there's injuries?
Yeah, and I think that's, Origin's only 3 games a year, right? So you've got to find ways to bring through your talent and expose them to the arena, expose them to the environment without playing. So that's been a big shift. And I think Mel was pretty much a pioneer of, starting to bring in the 18th and 19th man to give them an insight into what it was all about. So building your depth, as we know at NRL level, right? Every club's got 30 players, but that goes over for a year. But the best teams have got good depth, and I think at Origin level it's the same, because we're now, we're talking about an injury crisis for both teams, and you need to have players ready to go, knowing yes they've watched it as they grew up and they see it, but actually be in that environment. That's another thing that needs to happen. And so from that perspective, there's having that 30 come together at the start of the year, we're going to need all of them.
Locky, just being left and right in particular positions, does that still play an enormous part in the selection process, particularly in the centres?
Yeah, well, I think it does. Well, I think if you ask the individuals, a lot of them just don't feel comfortable going the other side. That's where it's got to. I guess 15, 20 years ago, a lot of rep teams, you just pick the best players and just put them wherever. Right, but I think at the moment, in today's game, it's very much a specialised position, whether you're left or right.
And finally, Locky, before we wrap up, can you take us into that selection meeting that'll happen on Sunday night? How does it work? Do you start off at fullback, go through to the extended bench? Do you cast your votes, or does Billy come in and say, here's the team I want, maybe have a few deciding votes on contentious positions?
Yeah, look, I think selector is probably the word's probably not appropriate. It's more an advisor. I think the coach, and it'd be the same with New South Wales. The coach would come in and have roughly the 19 or 20 players he wants to pick.
Yeah,
there'll be a few positions that he wants to have a conversation about, and from myself and Gino's perspective, we just draw on our experiences as players about what Origin's about, what sort of players you want, in terms of attitude, in terms of their personality. So it doesn't, Billy's obviously very across everything, and he'll come with a list of names that he's confident with. There might be a couple of positions where he wants to have a conversation about it.
And Gino always pushing for his son-in-law to get in the team too, Corey Oates. Wouldn't surprise you all.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Well, there's a possibility that he won't be getting a good birthday present or a good Christmas present should he miss out on the team. But the one wonderful thing about Queensland State of Origin selection is over the years there's been competition for spots, but I don't remember a single Queenslander letting the team down.
Yeah, well, just to give you some insight, you basically do. You go to who's fullback, tick that off, and you go through. And then we get to the wing, and then we always got to have this conversation about Corey Oates, And that conversation about who's wearing the number 2 goes on for ages.
Yeah. Gino, best of luck dealing with Locky and Billy Slater next Sunday night when they pick the Origin team. This weekend, though, still a big weekend of rugby league. A Queensland derby at Suncorp Stadium Sunday afternoon. You'll see the Broncos in action against the Titans. But we can't wait for Origin. The Maroons hopefully win a 3rd series in a row.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights, action, 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour, grab a seat on the couch for that. And of course, my favourite, Freddie in the 8.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm, subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.